The original assessment of tax starts with you.
The new webinar from the New Culture Empire, The Truth About Income Taxes, where Thomas will explain and break down the historic income tax laws dating back to the Civil War, and how you must understand historic tax laws in order for you to avail yourself from the obligation to pay income taxes. Disclaimer: the 16th Amendment is constitutional and was ratified by the necessary states. The income taxes are valid and are applicable whether you fall under the requirements to assess and pay taxes. That's what Thomas is going to explore in the upcoming webinar.
16th Amendment allowed Congress to levy an income tax on individual and businesses. No apportionment required with this newly 16th Amendment. Now let's put a ribbon in that, because all other direct taxes require apportionment. 16th Amendment allowed for a tax to not be subject to the rule of apportionment. But all other taxes that are subject to the rule of apportionment are under the headings of direct taxes. So you mean to tell me the Constitution forbids direct taxes unless it's subject to the rule of apportionment, but in the same breath, the 16th Amendment allowed for a direct and non-apportioned tax? Example of apportioned tax is your property taxes, depending on what state you're in. You notice that the federal government doesn't have any statutes regarding to direct taxes. It's really a state thing. Depending on what state you're in, you pay property tax. So I'm in a property tax state, so let me ask yourself a question. So if I'm paying income taxes that are direct taxes but not subject to the rule of apportionment, then I can write my state and argue that, hey, why am I paying property taxes? They're not subject to the rule of apportionment, so they're not direct. You can't charge me because, hey, the income tax is not subject to the rule of apportionment and they're direct taxes. So if the income tax is not subject to the rule of apportionment, which is under the headings of direct tax, then I don't owe these property taxes because they're not subject to the rule of apportionment as well.
Oh, snap.
You see how how they would have you believe that basically with that reasoning, one section of the Constitution is destroying the other. No, all direct taxes are subject to the rule of apportionment. For the proportional apportionment of direct taxes. So you mean to tell me the 16th Amendment created its own separate class? Well, dating back to the Civil War, it's always been direct taxes subject to the rule of apportionment and indirect taxes, which is subject to the rule. I need people to stop self-assessing taxes first, okay? And I need people to start filing taxes under the Constitution.
This video was part of a 3-hour masterclass on the constitutional requirements for income taxes and how they do not apply to many Americans, and not for the reasons stated by most, as those cases have been decided in favor of the government. However, Thomas' reasoning has produced positive results for his clients, and no one who has had Thomas file their forms 1040 or 1040X, had ever received a frivolous filing letter from the IRS. Many have tried to make similar arguments as Thomas makes, and they all have fallen short. Because of Thomas's extensive research of the historic tax laws dating back to the Civil War, he understands the intricacies of the interpretations of the tax laws, which Congress accepted. Join this upcoming webinar and get your erroneous taxes paid, refunded, or penalties, or additions to tax assessed abated under the Constitution as interpreted by Congress. Thomas will provide direct evidence that his interpretation of the income tax laws which Congress accepted. The IRS accepts and evidence that his client received 4 income tax checks in which the IRS was levying his account. For more inquiries, send an email to thomaslegacy603@gmail.com.